5 and...
I think it's 5.
You sure it's that 4? Might be.
Yes, Matthew chapter 5.
13?
Bless all the salt of the earth.
Yeah, the salt of the earth? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start with that. So we want to get some parables and some understandings of what Christ was saying and then reflect on the depth of what he's saying. So start in Matthew 5 and verse, it's 13? Go ahead.
Reading out the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth.
Ye are the salt of the earth, the Israelites, the Native Americans, the West Indians, the blacks, the Hispanics, the ones that are poor out the world. Ye are the salt of the earth. What is the salt? What is salt? Salt flavors and gives life to food. Essentially almost quickens food, right? Go ahead.
But if the salt have lost the Savior, wherewith shall it be salted?
So if the salt lost its savor, what it's good for, what purpose is it? If you don't have that salt, you don't have that life that you add to food, that you add to word, that you add to your studies and your activities, that which makes you you. If you don't have that savor, what good are you? Go ahead.
It is thenceforth good for nothing.
It is then, therefore, good for nothing. The same thing with the word is essentially what he's talking about. You are the salt of the earth. If you have this word in you, right, there's life that comes out of your mouth. But if you lose the savor or you lose that word, then there's no point, right? Read that again, that last part.
It is thenceforth good for nothing.
So according to God and his son, you're good for nothing because you no longer have that word. It no longer has flavor to it. It doesn't hold any weight. Go ahead.
But to be cast out, to be trodden under the foot of men.
So not only are you no good anymore, now you are cast out and trodden underfoot. You're absolutely useless at that point when you don't maintain and hold on to this word. That salt, that flavor, that savor that he's talking about. Go ahead. Now we're going to go into the light. Verse 14. Might have to wrap it up after this one.
Ye are the light of the world.
Ye are the light of the world, right? So if he's saying you who have his word are the light of the world, that means without you, the world is in darkness, right? Because in order to say someone is light, darkness has to be around them. Ye are the light of the world because the world is in gross darkness. Go ahead.
A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
So he gave you the light of himself, his knowledge, his wisdom, his understanding. So now that raises you up. So a city that is on a hill cannot be hid. So if you have that light and you're raised up, you can't hide it. You can't hide that talent. That's why he gave you the story of the talents. The one that hid it, that buried it and tried to bury the light so it couldn't be seen. But you're a city on a hill. You cannot hide. But if you lose that savor like that salt and that light, you're useless and good for nothing. Go ahead.
Neither do men light a candle.
Neither do men light a candle. Go to, can you give me, hold that and get Proverbs, I think I want 20 and 20? 20 and 27. Right, so what does he mean by candle? Right, what is the purpose of a candle? The purpose of a candle is to provide light and darkness, right? 20 and 27, is that what I'm looking for?
Spirit of man is the candle of the Lord.
Right, so this is the purpose of the candle. So he said, neither do men take a candle. Go ahead.
Reading out the book of Proverbs chapter 20 verse 27.
Go ahead.
The spirit of the man is the candle of the Lord.
So the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord. Why?
Searching all the inward parts of the belly.
Searching all the inward parts of the belly. So your spirit is the candle of the Lord, right? The person who holds the candle out front provides the light and he searches the darkness. So the candle that is in you is the light of the Most High, and he utilizes that spirit he gave you to search your inward parts. That's the candle that we're talking about in Matthew. Go ahead.
Verse 28. Mercy and truth preserve the king, and his throne is upholden by mercy.
Oh, no. Go back to Matthew. Let's begin it. Right? So that candle, the purpose of that candle is to light the darkness. That is your spirit, the light that is within you. The light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 15. Neither do men light a candle,
right,
and put it under a bushel.
You don't take a candle and put it under a bushel. You don't light a candle for the purposes of remaining in darkness or hiding that light that you have. That's the same thing that happened to us as a people. We've been talked down, trodden, and all these things to the point where we hid our light. So men don't take the light and hide it under a bushel. That's not the point of lightning. Let's get get that out real quick. Go ahead.
but on a candlestick,
Uh-huh.
and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
And it gives light to all that are in the house. Once you light a candle, it is to provide light for all that surrounds you. They're all in the house, so you can light their way so they come out of darkness. Go ahead.
Verse 16, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works.
So let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works. Because those on the opposite side of that candle, that light, are in darkness. And they look towards you to see the light of your works. Right? Because the light is shining on you and they can see the good that you did, the understanding that you gave them. So they see that light. So they see your good works, right? So let's go to Proverbs 6 and 23, right? So let's get into this light thing again so you have an understanding what we're talking about. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. And when you begin to understand the light, you'll start to understand other parts of the Bible. Let me know when you get it.
Read out the book of Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23.
Go ahead.
For the commandment is a lamp.
For the commandment is a lamp. The purpose of a lamp is to do what? Provide light. It can be good looking, it can be older, it can be bent, it can be straight, it can be like on a sconce on the wall. But a lamp provides light. Go ahead.
And the law is light.
And the law is light. The commandment is a lamp. And the law is light. The purpose of the command is to give light. So what are we saying? So we're going to read that over, right? So the commandment is a lamp and the law is light. The Father is the lamp. The Son is the light or the law, right? So the command is where the light proceeds from, right? Yahushua, Christ, proceeds from his Father, which is the lamp. He gave the command for him to light the world with the law. The commandment is a lamp. The light is the law. When he said, I am the light of the world, that is the law that he brought into the world because we could not do it. He fulfilled it. Understand? Go ahead.
For the commandment is a lamp and the law is a light. And the law is light.
And the law is light. So when he's saying, I am the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not, that's also dealing with knowledge. He says, because my people die from a lack of knowledge. Knowledge, when internalized with understanding the word and the spirit of the Most High, becomes light, right? When you study, you become smart. When it's natural, you're intelligent. But when you hold and maintain and get a full understanding, they call you brilliant because light is emanating from you. So when you get this word in you and you understand it and you can speak it out, then you become brilliant. Then that light is there. Then you're speaking the word. The laws in you. Give me Isaiah 8 and 20. Right? So to get an understanding that that light that he's talking about is the law, it's actually talking about the word as a whole. That this is how you have to live your life. This book is light. Words are spirit. Right? So when someone speaks right words and they raise you up, they enlighten you. Right? That's what he's trying to tell you, that these words are the light, the law, which he brought forth from the Father, the lamp, or the command. Go ahead.
Reading out the book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony.
To the law and to the testimony, right? Go ahead.
If they speak not according to this world, it is because there is no light in them.
If they speak not according to this word, it is because there's no light in them. The words are spirit. If you have a man who's so-called man of God, having the form of godliness but not acknowledging the powers thereof, he holds his book but doesn't read from it, and it's because there's no light in him. There's no understanding. He doesn't keep the laws. He doesn't do any of those things. So it says to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there's no light in them. When we speak as Israelites, we speak light. We speak from this book. We speak the law. We speak the testimony. We speak the Old and New Testament. We speak of the Father and the Son. You have to have the full understanding in order to have this light, right? Go ahead, back to, Matthew? Good. So now we understand the commandment is a lamp, right? That which provides the housing for the light, or the vessel that the light comes through. And us being vessels, if we follow the laws, we become a lamp also. And that light that Yahweh Shai has can shine through us if we take in his word. What verse was that?
16.
Verse 16.
Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
All right. That they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Because if you are doing what the book says, your light will shine and they will give the glory to the Father. Right? Go ahead.
Think not that I come to destroy the law.
Right. So now notice what Christ says. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the commandment. Because, right, the law is the commandment. Go ahead. I'm Salaki. The lamp. But go ahead.
Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So he said out of his own mouth, think not that I am come to destroy the law, to eradicate it, to do away with it, or the prophets, or anything anyone said before. I am come to fulfill, because he has an obligation that he had to fulfill, and that was his sacrifice, right? Because when he died, he removed the need for animal sacrifice. That is the only law that was done away with. Because ask yourself this question. Did Christ die so you could commit bestiality? Did Christ die so you could commit incest? Those are laws. So when you say the laws are done away with this death, then you are now saying that you can be into bestiality, that you can do incest and all these other things. If that doesn't make sense, then ask your pastor, why does he teach that, right? He got rid of sacrifice, not all those other laws. All the other laws was for our living, right? Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass.
Right, so notice, for verily, I needful say to you, until heaven and earth pass. Go ahead.
One jot or one tittle.
Right, so one mark, one comma, one small instance of the law. Go ahead.
One jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
So in no wise pass from the law. So heaven and earth pass. It has been the same skies. It has been the same earth since time immemorial. So until that time, not even the smallest things of the law is going to change. Go ahead.
Till all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled. What has to be fulfilled is Christ returning and destroying the world. If he did not come back yet, matter of fact, if we're having a conversation, all is not fulfilled. If I'm reading you out of this book, all has not been fulfilled. He also said, right, that he was going to essentially incinerate those that eat swine's flesh. You niggas ain't burning. So all has not been fulfilled, right? So all of these things has to happen before that law goes away. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
So whoever shall break one of the least commandments, go ahead.
And shall teach man, so he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
So whoever essentially doesn't teach men to keep the commandments, right? He doesn't keep it himself and he teaches other men that. He shall also be called least in the kingdom of heaven. You don't want to be the least in the kingdom of heaven, right? Go ahead.
Shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
But whoever shall do them and teach them shall be called great. This is out of Christ's mouth telling you, you have to keep the commandments.
That's right.
Let's just say, right, for argument's sake, you say, well, Paul said, understand something. Who does Paul serve? Paul followed under Christ. Christ followed under his father. His father established the law. Christ came to fulfill the law.
That's right.
Paul did what Christ said. So for you to take what Paul says and try to override who he serves makes you a fool.
That's right.
You could, and I don't suggest it, you could do away with the end portion of the book and only read Christ's words. But you won't do that, because in doing that, it doesn't seem like salvation has come to the world, does it? Because you're mistaken about who the Gentiles are, right? There's Gentiles of other nations, but the Gentiles, as the brother said earlier, Gentile-minded people. Because until us Israelites came to the truth of his word, we were American, we were African American, we were all these other names, until we remembered who we are and behaved like the heathen around us or the Gentiles around us. Same thing that happened then. They said, okay, he went to Rome. Well, same thing we'll say here. Okay, we're in Newark, New Jersey. Oh yeah, but he went to Corinth. Okay, he went to Staten Island. All it is a different location with the same people and same mindset. These are his people, right? This is why he said, I came not but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That was his mission, right? You'll see instances. Go back to John 4. The well. I want to show you something. This might cause controversy, but I'm going to read it anyway.
John,
Go into it.
read out the book of John.
Start at the conversation in the well. What is it, around 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, just jump down.
Yeah, I'm going to jump down. So this is John chapter 4, verse 9. Go ahead. So now, this is at the well with the Samaritan woman. I want you to pay close attention to this conversation. Because what did we establish? I am not going but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that tells us, therefore, he is not going to entertain anyone else unless they're of the house of Israel. Go ahead.
Start at verse 7.
All right.
Reading at the book of John, chapter 4, verse 7.
Go ahead.
There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said unto her, give me to drink.
Right.
For his disciples were going away into the city to buy meat.
So now the disciples are gone, right? And they were told not to deal with the Samaritans, so they're gone. So now it's just him and her. Go ahead.
Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, ask a drink of me?
So her question is, how is it you, being a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan, a non-Jew, for a drink? Go ahead.
Being a Jew, ask it drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria. For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
There's a reason that the Jews have no dealing with the people of Samaria. You're going to have to go back to the Old Testament and figure out why they have no dealings. Go ahead.
Jesus answered and said to her, if thou knowest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou would have asked of him.
Right, so had you known who you were talking to, you would have asked me for the water. Go ahead.
Thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
What verse are you in?
Verse 10.
Okay, go ahead.
The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water?
So whence from thou, where do you get this living water from? I want you to pay attention to what she says next. Go ahead.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
She said, are you greater than our father Jacob? Why is this Gentile woman saying, are you greater than our father Jacob? Nowhere else in this book, in the New Testament, have you heard a Gentile mention Jacob as their father. There's a conversation with Christ and the Pharisees, right? And they say what? We be of Abraham's seed, right? Almost everybody in the book can say they're from Abraham's seed, right? But what's the distinction? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Abraham, Ishmael, Esau, so on and so forth. Just because Abraham's your father doesn't mean you're of the correct lineage. So when he ended up calling them vipers and devils, is because he knew they weren't of that chosen seed. But this woman particularly said, are you greater than our father Jacob? Let's continue on with that.
Then Jesus answered and said to her, if thou knowest, if thou knowest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Right. Drop down to verse 21.
Verse 21, Jesus said unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
So the hour will come where you will neither in this mountain, or what?
Neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem.
Right. So the hour will come where you will neither in this mountain or in Jerusalem worship the Father. Why is she worshiping the Father? Why does she think her father's Jacob? Go on.
Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
So salvation is of the Jews. Now, if we go back and remember, the kingdom was split into two, southern and northern. The southern kingdom is the Jews, is it not? So if he said Jews, could it be possible she's of the other kingdom? Let's go on.
Verse 23, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
Okay, split that page.
Verse 24.
Hold on, we might not read 24. Drop down to, let me see.
But guess what he said? I told you what he said.
Man, it's far down there. So right here, right? Let's drop down to verse 39. Now remember, he's talking to the Samaritan woman. He told the disciples, the apostles, do not go into the city of the Samaritans. I am only here for the lost sheep of Israel. But yet he's continuing to talk to her and entertaining her conversation. Let's go to verse 39.
Read out the book of John, chapter 4, verse 39. And many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him.
Why did the Samaritans believe on him if they were Gentiles? Why was he there? Go ahead.
Believed on him for the saying of the woman which testified. He told me all that ever I did. So when the Samaritans would come unto him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, that he abode there 2 days.
So they came up to him based on what the woman said and asked him to stay with them for 2 days. Go ahead.
And many more believed because of his own word.
And many more believed because of his own word. Go ahead.
And said unto the woman, now we believe, not because of thy saying, for we have heard him ourselves.
Not because of what you said, because we heard him ourselves, which means what? He taught them. If they were not lost sheep, he would not teach them. He would not tarry in the city of Samaria for 2 days unless those were the people. This is why that woman said, our father Jacob. That's why he stayed for 2 days. Continue on.
And know that this is indeed the Christ, the Savior of the world.
So indeed that this is the Christ, the Savior of the world. How do they know who he is if the laws and the truth was never given to them? Go ahead.
Now after 2 days he departed thence and went to Galilee.
Whoa, after how many days did he stay with the Samaritans?
Now after 2 days he departed thence and went into Galilee.
Why would he stay with Samaritans for 2 days if they are not the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Why would the woman say, my father, our father Jacob? Our father? She knew who she was. They knew who he was. After he stayed 2 days with Gentiles? I think not. You got to read it over, people. You got to read it over. You got to go back and realize that Ephraim controlled that territory from back then with the split of the kingdoms. You have to keep that in mind when you read that, right? So now let's go back. Where were we? Matthew 5 and we read the law. Just had to throw that out there. Right now I know I'm getting hate mail on that. It's okay. Just read it again.
Matthew chapter 5 verse 19.
What does that say? Hang that. No, go ahead.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
So whoever teaches not to do the commandments, right, essentially shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven, right? You're the least and the lowest. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Think about that. Whoever shall say, do, and teach the commandments will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. This is by the Messiah himself saying that whoever teaches it and does it is called great. So then why would your church tell you not to do it? Who does your pastor work for? Is it Christ of the Bible or is it Satan? You're going to ask that question. On that note, I'm going to say shalom. Head to the next brother.